Hi, I'm Lori Leisure from To the Trade, part of interior design community. I have some special guests here. Very excited to talk to both of you. Introduce yourself. I want everyone to hear who you are and what you do.
Okay, I'm Stephanie Lindsey.
I'm Jessica Nelson, and we are from Etch Design Group in Austin, Texas.
Yes. And you have a unique design practice because you do both interior design, residential interior design, and commercial, which is so cool. So cool. And we're very excited to talk to you about all the things here at KBIS that are for kitchen and bath residential and the commercial. Let's dive right in. Stephanie and Jessica, you co-founded Etch Interior Design. You're highly acclaimed in the Austin area. You're known for crafting stunning, functional, and marketable spaces, whether working on high-end residential projects or designing hospitality spaces that leave a lasting impression. You both keep such a keen eye on detail and deep understanding that makes kitchen and baths truly sell, from material selection to layout optimization. Their work combines luxury and livability. We'll be talking about their approach to design in kitchens and baths and what they're seeing at KBIS and how they can help their clients create spaces that are both beautiful and valuable, which is really so cool. Because the kitchen and bath, that you can make so many big mistakes, and that can cost you money when you have to sell your home down the road. What are you finding right now here at KBIS that you're kind of excited to see?
We actually just stopped by at the MTech booth at House of Rolls. And one, it's a stunning display. You have to go see it.
Oh my God.
But two, MTech has a whole setup where they're actually putting samples together for you to take home and polishing them and making them right in front of you.
Oh, wow. Wow. That's exciting. I mean, I think that this can be an overload for so many people. Interior design community, we put together a tour for some of the newbies because it can be, and I actually happened to weirdly run into one of our tour members at the hotel I was staying at. And we took an Uber together, and then I just met her and found out she was on our tour.
Oh, how funny.
How crazy is that?
That is great.
And in this sea of people, you still, can meet. You can have these like connections right away. And just like running into Jenny from Curry Company. And we just had dinner with her last night. It's so wonderful. Let's start with a little bit of background. Well, how did you start your business? And how did you become partners? That's not common for interior designers. But I know some that are super successful. It's always a little scary because people wonder if the personalities, as business grows or challenges come up, whether that you can align. How is that for you?
Yeah. So honestly, I know that there are a lot of people who are sole proprietors and it would be hard to have a partner. But for us, I really feel like I'm better because she's there with me, and same vice versa. We really value each other. We met at another firm, actually.
Oh,
and
wow.
we got paired up together on projects and we just hit it off. And
That's the story of
several other
partners. It's like a common story for people who find partnership. Is it once you are working for someone else, you realize you can work together and you really love it, but you're also kind of thinking you could do this,
right?
Or, and you're not doing it. You're not pulling by yourself. You're not afraid to do it. So is that sort of what you jumped into it?
Yeah, we actually left for different reasons and decided to join forces, and we actually celebrating 10 years.
10 years. Congratulations. That's so fantastic. What inspired you to focus on both residential and commercial? That's a deep undertaking to do both and do them well. Was it organic? Did you have a client that was residential that moved you into commercial, or how did that work for you?
It was actually pretty organic. Jessica meets everyone. She gives everyone her business card. She's always social and outgoing. And our first two commercial projects were a med spa that she had personal connections to the owner, and then a power company, of all things, that she also had connections to. And then that just started from there. And then we went to chiropractic and then schools and all sorts of.
Oh my gosh. Wow. And do you think that your style remains? I've looked at your projects and you insert playfulness, color. The spaces feel like they're telling a story in just what I'm looking at.
Right.
So I actually, know that that's something that you're passionate about. What sets you apart? Is that you're defining characteristics locally that you do both?
Actually, I think people see us more for residential,
Yeah, definitely.
but we definitely love color and we love pattern. And our style changes based on the client, really, but we like to have those memorable moments.
Yeah, I mean, they're stunning, so
Thank you.
beautiful. Do you have a recent project you're particularly proud of?
Gosh.
We're working on a Lake Austin remodel right now where we've basically taken the house down to the studs.
Wow.
It's going to be, it's a massive overtaking, a multi-year project. And there are clients that we've actually worked with several times now. So I think this is our third or fourth house with them. So that's one that we are working on that it's going to be a showstopper. We're
Oh, wow.
really excited about that one.
Are they going to let you have creative control to some extent?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. They're two doctors, so they don't have time for any of this. They just show up for the site walks and they're like, okay, what are we doing today?
I love
Those
that.
are the best clients,
Right?
You know? Yeah.
Dream
Absolutely.
clients.
Yeah.
You're here at KBIS, and how has the experience been so far? How was the check-in? How was the registration? Was all easy for you?
Yeah, it was pretty easy. We actually went to the outside registration, which
yeah.
last year we came inside, and it's pretty easy.
Pretty quick.
Yeah.
Great. Have there been any, other than the first product, have you seen anything else?
Oh gosh.
We literally just started.
Yeah, I know.
We're
It's
around
brand new.
in the bunch.
We've only been allowed in the building for a few hours.
Right.
We've seen lots of bathtubs,
Yeah.
lots of toilets,
Lots of vanities.
lots of mirrors, and just, I mean, the displays are phenomenal in
They're
addition to the products.
Oh my goodness. Sometimes you're just standing, looking at the booth and in awe.
Yeah.
How that was able to be set up.
Yes.
And I mean, like full screen, television screens, and it's very interactive.
Last year, though, one of the memorable booths was Concrete,
Oh yeah.
and I haven't found them yet. But
Oh, you've got to
we've
run.
gotta-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are there any new trends in kitchen and bath that you're kind of hoping to see?
Really? Even just the booths we've been to so far, it's been a combination of finishes.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I'm all for it.
Well, we had a fantastic dinner last night and had Jonathan Rolland, who is from Legacy. And we were talking about, he's the foremost cabinet guy. If you can track him down because he knows the future of all cabinets out there. And we were talking about stain versus painted, and how in the last year that's seen a rise about 15% in stain cabinets, and it's expected to grow. And I think that that's pretty accurate. I mean,
Yeah.
I can think that's going to be a trend that, that we'll be seeing for a long time.
Absolutely.
For sure.
I think it just goes back to these warmer tones of everything.
Right.
Because everyone's so tired of the grays and
grays.
these cool tones.
Ugh.
I mean, everything is warm. And so, what's better than these beautiful wood, warm wood tones?
Yeah, I know. I love, as a hobby, I love to just check out Zillow, and you'll look through houses, and it's so many people went on that gray trend.
Yep.
And it's just overwhelming.
Yep.
You'll just house after house,
Yeah.
fully gray, like
Right.
gray flooring.
Yeah.
I mean, a little prison-ish.
Or on the flip side of that, it's like a completely white house.
Yes.
So it's like
Yes.
white kitchen, stark white, all the walls are white. I'm like,
Bleach flooring.
like,
Oh my goodness.
yeah.
If we're talking about baths specifically, it made me think in bathrooms, we're seeing a lot more requests for cold plunges,
Oh yes.
even infrared saunas, and it really expanding that primary suite.
Yes.
And that's been really interesting. There's a few now that even offer those. Impava, I think, was one.
Yes.
And I haven't seen them yet either.
I have to go see that, because I from New England, and cold plunging is actually very healthy for you. I mean, that has a lot of like cardiac
Yes.
benefits. So it's on my radar for sure. What do you think are the most important elements when designing a kitchen or bath that really hits the market right, so that the client is happy with it? They feel personal. It feels personal to them, but it isn't taking it in a direction that will make it less marketable if they choose to sell their house down the road.
I would say functionality.
Same.
Yes.
It has to be functional.
It has to have that.
Mm-hmm.
The lots of storage.
Yeah. And I mean, there's
Makes
so many
sense.
cabinet vendors here. I feel like any cabinet vendor that would be here should be focused on functionality for, kitchen design. I know when I was designing my house, it was very important to have everything lined out for like where are the pots and pans going? Where are all of my pullouts going to be with all of the, utensils, and just have it as functional and organized as possible, because there's nothing that people like less than a cluttered kitchen where you can't find anything. It doesn't make sense. Things aren't in the right place. So I feel like functionality is just above and beyond all materiality. Like it just has to be functional.
Absolutely. I'm seeing a lot of interest in appliance garage because people are so tired of seeing all the appliances on your counter. You're paying all this money for these gorgeous countertops, and then you're putting coffee makers and roasters and, air fryers on the top of it. And you can actually ruin some of them that way too. So why not kind of like slide in an appliance garage that helps you live your life a little bit better. You can see, that addresses like mental health. Like when you're not having to look at the clutter and the little crumbs and the little things that you don't really want to, you need to clean.
And I think about that phase where everything was like these open shelves in the kitchen. Like there was no closed cabinetry in the uppers. It was just all these open shelves. And I'm like, that's not functional.
No, but you can never take home that like coffee mug from work. I think that's maybe the number one must. Like,
I'm not putting that up there.
Yeah.
No.
It's a display.
Right.
I think that was really popular when we were getting really heavily into the Swedish design. And that was, it's had its moment. It's still kind of relevant with the modern, I've seen it kind of mix with Asian a little bit. So I do still sometimes see the open cabinetry, but less.
Yeah.
Thankfully, it's so hard to keep that clean. Yeah. Let's be honest. My mother had that in the house, and it was like, it's just dust collecting the entire time. So it's very difficult constantly taking the dishes down to clean them, to put them back up. Yeah. Even though they're clean. They really. Absolutely. Because we don't use everything in our cabinets every single day. Right. The functionality is so key. Yeah. Are there any go-to materials and finishes in kitchen and bath that you love?
Going back to that wood, I love a good stained wood island. It's that heat stay resistant. I love it so much. I walk into a kitchen and it just kind of sets the tone from a standpoint of the warmth and like this welcoming, moment. Yes. I love that so much. I know people are so against like white marble in kitchens, but I will always love white marble in kitchen. I do love a good warm white marble though. So like a Calcutta gold or, something that can really pull in those warm undertones to it. Again, it kind of goes back to, you don't want the cool gray tones. You don't want just kind of this stark white kitchen. You want it to have warmth. You want it to have personality. You want it to have, this welcoming appeal. And I think that whenever you can balance a mixture of colors and textures and tones, it just feels so nice whenever you can walk in and feel that.
I absolutely. And honestly, I love when designers utilize antique pieces too into the island, like an old apothecary cabinet or, some sort of merchant cabinetry. I've seen years ago, I had a designer, Rebecca Reynolds, and she's out of Connecticut, Connecticut. So she's got beautiful, beautiful houses that she's designing. And she did that a lot. There was a lot of integration with antiques and putting that into the kitchen. And the sense of place that has, timelessness, you kind of feel like you're in some, like movie set, which is so fantastic. I know in Austin, thrifting and antiques are big. So is that something that you've ever explored?
So we actually have one designer on our staff that is the antique curator. And she loves it. We haven't had that personal experience. And honestly, that's client driven a lot of the time.
Sure.
Yeah. But
I love that. Do you notice any major shifts in how people use their kitchen and bath recently? Is there something that you're seeing differently?
So might be a good plug for technology, because automation and smart homes is something that isn't going away.
No.
And it's only advancing quickly. Right before this, near the House of Roll booth, there's a booth I was trying to look up the name. I'm pretty sure it's called Kingslide. They have interior cabinet hardware for the functionality of it, and it's AI powered, meaning that if you're looking for your passport, you can go to the app, say, this is the item I'm looking for. I don't remember where I put it. And that drawer in your house will open.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
goodness.
Yeah.
You have blown my mind.
That's amazing.
That I could use that. Just before I came here, I misplaced my driver's license. Well, and I had no idea. So I brought my passport, but I was supposed to rent a car on my next trip. So I have to take an Uber. But that would have been helpful. Where is it?
And honestly, that they're coming up with things that we aren't thinking about.
Oh,
I would have
absolutely.
never
I would have
thought of
never
that.
thought that, but it's so useful to people. How many times have we been digging through 15 drawers?
Right.
Documents we know we put somewhere.
Yeah.
We know that that's somewhere, but we just don't know where it is. And I have a feeling, I've talked to so many designers, interior design community on Instagram. We have 109,000 designer followers, and I talk to designers every single day. And the conversation going into AI or going into, home automation makes designers so nervous.
Yeah.
Because they feel, I think, that they would have to be tech support.
Right.
And they're afraid. I mean, they already get phone calls when something chips or when something isn't, is not as perfect. I've even had designers who have gotten calls a year later because an animal went to the bathroom on the rug and they want replacement.
Yeah.
Right, they're things like that it just feels like they're constantly putting out fires. And once that project is closed, the money is set.
Right.
Anything that takes a lot of time feels like a burden.
Right.
So it's scary for designers. And I think there are a lot of designers who are like, I wouldn't want that in my house. I wouldn't want everything being tracked. I don't feel like my whole house has to track me. But I can tell you from someone who has implemented some of that, and I have, it is such a game changer. So we have automated blinds. We have automated lighting in our house. And, it will turn on the lights in the living room an hour before sunset or open the blinds at 8 a.m. It just unclose them at 8 p.m. And the fact that I don't think about it.
Right.
And that's what
One less thing.
It's one less thing
Yeah.
to worry about, right? And so I think that designers who are embracing it and are really, first of all, they can make money on this. It's not something that you can't make a living doing. And there are some really fantastic integrators out there that are very designer friendly that can and be your support. They will actually be the tech support.
Absolutely.
They're fixing it minutes after it goes down, where the homeowner doesn't even know it's gone down. So those are part of the contract usually. And so they're not necessarily, that's not a problem for designers. I don't believe it is.
Right.
But it is a learning curve. It's
Absolutely.
it's scary. I'm sure it's scary for designers thinking, how am I going to integrate this? What if I have the integrator doesn't do what I want them to do? But to walk into a room and your sound, your temperature, your lighting, your all of these features are personalized to you. And sensors, they're putting sensors in the walls where it can measure, any toxins in the air and air filtration and water filtration. These are very important to how people live their lives.
Yeah.
So I'm so excited that that's starting to make it's a must. It's a must. I'm hearing you say that it's a must is wonderful. You approach designing for different audiences, high-end homeowners and hospitality. How did those clients work? How do you work with them? Are they different clients?
I mean, the project that Jessica was talking about earlier with the two doctors, the clientele still has opinions, but they want to know that everything is handled for them.
Right.
And so that customer service aspect is just really key.
Yeah.
for them.
Yeah. I think it would be for anyone. I mean, but I find in talking to designers who do commercial, the commercial side, It's more about delivery
Right.
and
Numbers.
numbers and how it all is going to come there. It's less personal.
Right.
So it's, we want it to be
Decisions are made
beautiful.
faster.
They're
Right.
faster because it's not so personal. But it's obviously wonderful if you have a residential that works in the same way. That is, yes. And you can also just make these decisions for me.
Right. Yeah.
I love the doctors and
Yes.
lawyers. I love the busy ones.
Yeah.
Lawyers, maybe not.
Yeah.
So much.
There's caveats with them.
Yeah.
In general, though, we have seen over the last 2 years clientele switching and wanting to be involved in the decision-making process and learning about the products and the history and things. And I don't know what to attribute it to other than maybe coming off of COVID. There's this just want to understand your space and have it be something that represents you. And a lot of clients are asking for that retreat feel that, they saw this luxury hotel that they loved and want to bring that feeling home. And I think there's some level of balance between that desire of wanting someone to manage the process, but also making them feel heard and involving them. And
that's the balance, because you do want the client, if it's their home,
Right.
or there are even some business owners, you want them to feel like this space really truly represents them. And overwhelmingly, you will hear clients say, this is exactly what I wanted when they work with an interior designer, but they didn't know they wanted it.
Right.
They weren't aware of what that can do to a person's life.
Absolutely.
Once you have hired an interior designer and have really, trusted the process, you will never go back.
No.
Right.
You will never go back. The functionality of the space and really how you navigate the space is so perfect for you. I mean, the thought process that goes into that and how much time you all spend to make sure that every little detail and how they navigate their space and navigate their day, and giving them one less thing to worry about every day. Just some little time-saving features that make their lives easier.
Absolutely.
And it's lovely to see. I love it. Are there any appliances that you want to be specifying in the next year or so?
I am really jazzed about the AI appliances.
Yes.
That's what I'm kind of like in search of while I'm here. I want to see kind of what the new technologies are. And I just keep hearing about more and more AI technology within the market. So that's what I'm like seeking out while I'm here.
Yes. Yeah. It's the learning model that it can learn at you and and how you live.
Yeah.
And get better at that with time, like having that built in.
Absolutely.
Well, signature.
Yeah, signature kitchen suite. That's what I have at my house. And they did a little training thing where they brought a personal chef out. He taught me how to actually use my range.
I love it.
I know. It was great. But they were talking about the new technology with their ovens, so the AI technology specifically. So I'm excited about that.
I love signature kitchen suite.
Yeah,
they're so great.
Yeah.
So great. Do you think that there's one feature that if you were really truly wanting to go for it, you're like, we have Vanessa De Leon behind us, so this gorgeous kitchen. If there's one feature that you want to make sure they spend some money on and bump it up a little bit, what would that be?
Gosh. In the kitchen?
In the kitchen.
I mean, I feel like a pro range always sets the tone for the space, but I mean, that's kind of typical with any one that we're doing. I also still love cabinetry appliances where we're not actually seeing the refrigerator. I just don't like to see it all. I like it to be concealed. And
yes.
I mean,
Panel front ready to go.
Absolutely.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
The more it disappears, the better. And making, in this space, she did very trunk style, details. Hardware is such a
key.
great,
Absolutely.
because we're touching it.
Yeah.
You're touching that every single day. If it doesn't feel good on your hand, forget about it. I always tell people and lighting.
Yes.
Lighting, the jewelry of the room. You have to make sure that you have wonderful lighting. And I love Curry Company. For lighting. Let's talk countertop material. What are you thinking about countertop material lately?
We've used Cosentino a lot.
Yeah, we use Cosentino quite a bit.
Yes. Yeah. And they've done a lot recently so it's quartzite, so it's manufactured, and they had some. They worked to reduce the dust for employees and so that there were no problems with people breathing it in, and they have safety measures, and it really utilizes waste too. So it has some sustainability feature, and I love their Decton products.
that's
extremely
great. Durable.
right,
Yeah.
so durable.
Yeah,
You can
it's
literally take a pan off of your oven, hot as heck, and just put it right down on a Decton surface, and it's good to go.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so durable, and a lot of people using it in outdoor.
Yeah.
Why not? In full walls of Decton. I love it.
It's beautiful.
One kitchen and bath trend you wish would go away.
Would go away. That blue island in kitchen.
I think it's already out, but
Yeah,
maybe there are still some lingering.
the two-tone, right?
Yeah.
So the island has to be one color,
Yes.
and all the cabinets have to be another color. Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. Something a little bit more streamlined.
Yeah.
You know, make sure I don't mind if the island is separate to like stone,
Right.
but if it's the same cabinetry and you just painted a different color,
Yeah.
it doesn't really feel 100% cohesive.
Yeah.
Usually.
Yeah.
What is a guilty pleasure when it comes to home design? What do you love?
Wallpaper.
Wallpaper.
Oh,
I mean, who
yes.
doesn't?
Can't get enough.
I can't either. Fabrics and wallpaper.
And wallpapers.
I went to Paris for Maison Objet and Decoas, and go if you can, because it is just jaw-dropping. You're
Yeah.
just looking at the most beautiful wallpapers and fabrics you've ever seen in your whole life. I mean, they're just so stunning.
Yeah.
I could spend days just flipping through and feeling touching everything.
Absolutely.
I'm a big fan of wallpapers. In fact, there's a company out there recently that I've been kind of keeping my eye on, and they're called Roland GGA. They're a printer manufacturer, so they're not really making a wallpaper, but their printer makes this wallpaper, and it's a brand new thing that it prints in the print channel a chemical that goes through the printer and it heats up and it puffs up. So it creates a textured wallpaper. So think of in any texture, you can kind of customize that texture. So if it is a brick pattern, it looks like a brick pattern. If it is floral, it can look, you can feel the petals, It's really, really cool for commercial and for residential, because commercial, you could do logos with it and things like that. And then, of course, residential. And in fact, a designer that I know, Nikki Levy, she was just at Palm Beach, the Kips Bay, and she used the material on the ceiling, and it was a duplicate of the rugs that she used, and it made the front page of House Beautiful and Veranda and Lux, like all in the same day. She was
That's crazy.
thrilled, as you can imagine. I mean, absolutely thrilled. But it's just so interesting. I mean, it's a unique new product.
Yeah.
But I would agree with you. Wallpaper, it really makes a space stand out. Absolutely. So is there anything that you want to see here that you don't think that is here? Is there something missing at KBIS?
I mean, we can throw a little Korean company.
The curry.
Yes, they might be here next year. So that'd be wonderful. And is there something that you think that you want to see in kitchens in general? Do you think that we're going to go into a direction? We're hoping we're going to go more, but are we going to go in a direction where we have bigger kitchen? Like, I know the open space versus the closed space is such a big topic.
Yeah,
And a lot of people were kind of feeling like the open space didn't allow you to leave the mess or the smells that come from kitchens. Is that something that you're implementing in Austin?
I feel like everything is still fairly open plan. We have seen a few floor plans come through from the architects recently where it's been more, segregated in terms of spaces not being so together. So I do think that there's probably a wave of that coming for sure. It is still a debate though. Like, we have clients that are absolutely like, I want an open plan, period. I want my family to be, if I'm cooking, I want to be able to see the kids in the living room right there, and then, have everything in one space.
Right.
I get the, contrast of both, and I think that there are pros and cons. And I think I do think it also depends on maybe the age and, the age of kids that you have as well.
Yeah.
Because even when you do have young kids, you still have to have the quiet spaces in the house. So while you might want to be with your family, kind of living, you still have to have those closed off spaces that are away from everything. TBD.
Yes. Yeah.
There's still a lot, and we're in Austin, so everything is bigger in Texas, right?
Right.
We don't see people downsizing a
No.
whole lot, but they do a lot of what we call dirty kitchens.
Yeah.
So it's the kitchen behind the kitchen.
Yes.
And there could be a pantry as part of it, but most of the time, pantry is a third area, and this kitchen behind the kitchen is actually their prep space where when it's catered, all of the mess is back there, and the main kitchen is clean and smell-free.
Mhm. Yes. Yeah. So it's
Yeah.
kind of for show.
Right.
It is. I also love a good walk-in pantry that's the hidden door.
Right.
It's part of the
Right.
kitchen. You would never know it, but then you kind of open this cabinetry door
Hidden
and then walk
room.
into this beautiful, oversized pantry.
That's definitely a jaw dropper for
Yeah.
any guest
Yeah.
to come over your home.
Yeah.
Like, oh, and here's my sunburn kitchen.
Yes.
Yeah. We also haven't talked about the Costco door,
Yes.
but
yeah.
that is
Yeah.
Especially in Texas.
I love it. I love it. I think that there's definitely when I was thinking about that space in between the clients that want the open space versus the closed off space, they're also trying to implement maybe like little spaces in their house too that kind of have those kitchen elements. So I've seen like little coffee stations and in the primary suites.
Yep.
I'm
Right.
seeing a little bit of extra spa,
right.
like you've talked about a little bit experience in the primary bath. That is probably going to get bigger and more interesting in the
Right.
next years. I mean, steam baths, steam showers, aromatherapy.
Yeah.
Right.
The full
Infrared.
infrared, full infrared.
Saunas.
People we were talking about how there are brands looking at how we apply serums and things like that. So we could kind of airbrush serums on at night. And, there's just lots of different new tools out there to make that feel like you have your own experience in your own home. And do you think that is because of COVID, like people were stuck at home for a long period of time and they were thinking, oh my gosh, I want this space to feel like the places I went.
Yeah. I think part of it is also just the desire to take care of yourself.
Right.
And that realization that, okay, it's okay for me to take time for myself and to take care of myself. And whether that's physically or mentally. And I think COVID did a lot of reset for us in that mental state.
And I think that the temperature of the world too. I mean, we're very stressed out people, and needing to unwind is becoming more popular.
Right.
Are there any other spaces in the house that you see people wanting those luxury moments for themselves? I think outdoor, maybe. Outdoor. There's outdoor kitchen, outdoor, just like some outdoor kitchen I'm not sure about, because I mean, I've noticed that some people don't really use their outdoor kitchen. Do you think that that's a reality?
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta use the
It's
grill.
so interesting because, we're in Texas, and so it is extremely hot in the summers. And so you throw a grill on outside and it makes it even hotter.
Right.
So I actually see so many people that spend a lot of money on these beautiful outdoor kitchens and then really don't use them much.
Right.
Now, if you have a large pool out there and you do a lot of entertaining, those spaces do tend to get used more. But I see a lot of people kind of almost waste money in the exterior, which is sad because I think it can be a really neat space.
Yeah.
But,
you have to be very careful with your space plan too, because too often you're putting it right outside of your door, and then all of that, smoke and all of it comes right back into your home. So paying attention to where that is placed and understanding that.
And being, I think, really thoughtful on the selections and the details of how it's all, again, the functionality, right? And how it's all being placed and where it's going and what's going in with it. And there's a lot that's to be said about outdoor kitchen design.
I know. It is. It's a tricky thing, but I think that when it's done right, this is when I love it is a pool house.
Oh, yeah.
That to me, is next level.
Yeah.
I mean, if you do have the opportunity to have a pool house and you do have that outdoor kitchen in that space, that's perfect because you're kind of outside. I mean, you have it open. You can have an open patio kind of part of the pool house. And then you have your outdoor kitchen in that space. You have a comfortable area for people to hang out. And it's so beautiful. I mean, it's created its own space in your home and a separate space for your home, really.
And we see a lot more of that, I would say, because you get these kind of secondary casitas. So
Right.
not only does it function as a guest house, but typically they'll have big sliding doors where that all opens up to the, the pool, the patio.
Right.
But it's got the nice big kitchen too. And so it kind of serves as a secondary space without actually having to have that outdoor kitchen. Which I think is really smart.
I do too. I think it's smart. And like you said, for the temperature, that's saving everybody time. If you're not having to sweat while you're barbecuing.
Yeah.
Get eaten by mosquitoes. I love it. I love it. I have been so excited about coming to this show because of how much there is to see. Do you find it difficult to see everything?
Oh, yeah.
I actually feel the opposite.
Oh, really?
Last year, we actually were able to, I mean, we sped through day one, but we actually saw almost all the booths.
You did?
Day one. And then day two.
Wait, hold on a second.
I
remember day two, we went, okay, we're going to spend time going to speaking engagements and watching panel discussions because we spent so much time walking and seeing things that there were a few things that we went back to day two, and there were little pockets that we didn't feel like we spent enough time in. But I think it depends on personality too.
Right.
Some people want to stay and talk and research too, and others want to keep going on the path and see everything and make sure they're taking it all in. I think it's definitely a challenge.
Right.
But I think that if you're determined,
I can't believe that you saw every booth in one day. I still can't wrap my mind around that. I mean, I didn't think it was possible in one day to do that. I would be like speed walking, I think.
I think also because it was our first time, we didn't know what we didn't know.
Sure.
And so we kept going because we thought, okay, we've got to make the most of the time, not knowing when it would end.
Right.
We didn't have a clear view of the full.
All I know is I just kept walking and I was like, haven't I seen that vanity like 500 times? What's happening here?
I know.
And there are duplicates. Some people have, or some vendors have booths
Multiple
in multiple
booths.
spaces.
Yes, absolutely. Because they don't expect people to walk to every single one.
Yeah.
They expect you to like maybe be in this area and never get over there. Is there one particular hall you like better than others?
North.
Course.
Yeah.
North Hall.
Yeah.
North Hall gets a lot of love. This hall gets a lot of love too.
Yeah.
If you can make it over to Monogram, do so because it is it's designed by a designer, Richard, who is he is amazing. And I really, it's going to be a knockout. I mean, it's a knockout. There's a lot to see. This AJ Madison's Kitchen Design Collective. Oh my gosh. It's so stunning.
And I remember last year, Native Trails. And they're women owned. And so they always stick in my mind that we need to make time for them.
Absolutely. I love when we can find certain businesses that we want to support because of how they do business too. That's a really important thing to me. And I think to a lot of designers too. We want to, we were just talking before we came into this podcast about designer friendly, and there are a lot of brands who are very interested in becoming partners with designers and being designer friendly. And I love it. I'm embracing it, but it's also such an education too, because you have to learn how the designers buy.
Right.
What's a meaningful collaboration with designers? I mean, obviously, pricing will always be the most important factor because that's dictating, your client is dictating what they can afford for that particular piece. And you as a designer are aligning their budget for the entire project. So you have the full budget and you have to decide how much of that goes into the cabinetry and how much of it goes into the range and how much of it goes into the hood and the lighting and the every aspect. So it's very difficult to make sure that you're making the right choices all along the line and still respecting that budget so that you're coming in under.
Yeah.
So I think that a lot of the times in this kind of thing, would you ever walk? I actually have a designer doing this tomorrow. Would you ever walk a client through KBIS?
No.
I'm not sure. I think it's overwhelming for
It is.
clients.
It's so much to see. It's so
Uh-huh.
much to see. And so much that you kind of, I would think, want to upgrade every minute of it.
Which is fine. That's
Right.
We're in support of that. I think that if you are able to know which specific things they need to see,
Right.
and it's curated and planned, I think it could be very beneficial for sure. But I think the planning aspect would be really valuable for the client,
Right.
instead of just
Letting everything go.
I know so many designers that pick those moments to meet the brands directly, and then they bring all of this information back. And we have some like really solid advice for designers out there who are thinking about navigating the show. Creating content is kind of part of it too,
Sure.
right? So, you might want to take some photos and bring those back to your client, but also for your own social media following, your own,
Right.
your own guests and that are on your podcast, because I know you guys have
Yeah.
podcasts too. So that is important too when you're here. And a great tip is take a photo of the booth itself, like the sign.
Uh-huh.
Take all your photos, all your videos, and then take a photo of the booth. So you bookmark. Because you will forget.
Oh,
You will
totally.
forget. I
Yeah.
mean, the first time I went to a show, that's exactly what I took pictures of everything. I took videos of everything. And of course, I got back and would realize I had no idea where anything was, because I thought you think you'll remember, but you
Totally.
don't.
No.
So trying to have good practices. But this is a really good time to create content,
Yeah.
and create some videos and talk about what it is you love about these products that you see, because it will give a very interesting story back to your followers and
Right.
also the clients that might be or potential clients that are probably watching along, to see that the product lines and that you have experience with this. I mean, you're making such an investment to come here
Right.
and to learn, and you want to make sure you're coming home to tell people that story, that
Right.
you did that.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think along those lines, when you talk about Instagram content and showing your expertise and how you are knowledgeable and all these things, KBIS is great because, or IBS, it's such a great experience because you're seeing those things that are functional, like we talked about, and decorative. So you're seeing things like Hafela and the more inner workings of things, and also decorative, all the way to materials and laminam and all sorts of just the full spectrum, not only what goes behind the cabinets, but what you see on the front with cabinet hardware and lighting. It's full spec. Last year we ended up on the floor that had safety goggles and gloves and all sorts of things, and we went, "I'm in the right place." But it's true. You can see everything from a builder's perspective to a designer's perspective.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
understand how they all integrate.
And you might find something over there that you like. They have those little booties that you use there.
Yeah,
Like,
safety gear.
safety gear. I could use that when I'm on the site course. If you have that project, you're going to be doing a full renovation. Have you done new build? That's something that you're doing too.
Yeah.
Have you looked over at? There's a new product they're not that new, but they've had some changes. Canvas.io.
Okay, I feel like I remember writing this down recently.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I just talked to them last week, and so fascinating. You can take your iPhone and literally scan your room, and you can also send them the schematics of a build that you're going to be
Right.
doing. So it doesn't have to just be a room that you're already designing. And it's not dead nuts accurate,
Right.
but it's so close.
Yeah.
Like, it is so close. And you can also update and send them the measurements, or put the measurements in yourself so that they are exact.
Yeah.
And it creates the model in seconds. It's fascinating to me.
Yeah.
They just got a bunch of funding, I want to say a month ago. I think they got $10 million in funding. So they are going to be doing a lot of really cool things. And it's something that I think designers could pay attention to that will save money. Right. That's the key. It is like, how can they save money? And of course, along the lines of AI, if you're near the next booth, I'll be there talking about AI
That's right.
at 4 o'clock. So come by and say hello. Would love, love, love that. And, you are also doing some stuff with AIs. Tell me a little bit about that. How did you get into that?
I've always loved technology. And
Right.
actually, that's really why I started interior design. My sister-in-law, whenever I was going over to her house, whenever I had just started, dating my now husband, she was working on her Revit models and, doing all these really cool things. And I worked in technology for 10 years before I actually went to school for interior design. And so whenever I saw her working on her Revit models, I was like, my gosh, this is like technology and design combined. I just love it. So that was ultimately kind of what drew me to interior design. And whenever we started Etch, I feel like Etch has always been a very forward-thinking firm when it comes to technology. We're always just kind of trying new things and trying to be very forward-thinking in terms of how we're using technology.
Which you are.
And
I mean,
design.
I've looked at some of the commercial projects you've done and very Silicon Valley feel, very, fun.
Yeah.
Fun, but also clean, that it looks forward thinking.
Yeah.
In the world. Yes.
Fast forward to, I guess, last year, Steph and I had been using like ChatGPT and Google Bard, which is now Gemini, and, just kind of diving in slowly to AI. But we actually came to a panel discussion here at KBIS last year. And I walked away from that and I told Stephanie, I was like, I'm really excited about it, but I don't really feel like I have a lot of the tools, from that discussion that I could just go and explore and look into. So I love YouTube. I go down these like YouTube rabbit holes, and that's what I did one weekend. And I just said, okay, I'm going to search out like different things for AI that interior designers could be using. And I literally spent all weekend doing it. And Stephanie and I share Google Notes with each other, or Apple Notes. And so I had just kind of combined like all kinds of different things that I was working on. And I said, I would put this image in and then I would get this image out. And so between rendering programs and, all kinds of cool little tools. And so after that deep dive that I took, I said, I really feel like no one's talking about this. There's one or two people, but I don't really feel like anyone in our industry is talking about it. And, for us as always, kind of being that forward thinking technology firm, like we need to be ahead of this. We need to be starting incorporating this into our firm and figuring out where in our process it can actually go.
Right.
And we actually started a separate company. It's called AI for Interiors. And, the whole goal behind it was just to teach interior designers how to start incorporating AI, where in their process, because we're a larger firm, it's not just us, we're a large firm. And so there's different ways that we have to tweak our processes to be able to incorporate technology and AI and make it, functional not only for our team, but also a benefit for the clients too.
Right.
So, we think about it from the aspect of it being a time-saving tool. It's not here to replace design. It's not here to replace anything that we really do. It's here to streamline the process and just make it faster and more functional.
Right. And your business in general, faster and more functional. I think there are designers who are afraid of it, sure.
Yeah.
But overwhelmingly, you would be surprised how much incorporating it will save you.
Oh, yes.
So much more time. And honestly, it's also the mental energy too that you're expending on things that could be seconds, like why write the email when you can just quickly say,
click a button.
This is what I want to say.
Right.
And you give a short version note or even a voice note now through the apps. Now, I tend, because of what interior design community does, I definitely use more of the documentation and some photo stuff, but not like a lot.
Yeah.
I definitely don't deep dive into rendering.
Sure.
And I have some concerns too about the IP, because these are learning models, of course. So anything that you're adding to the learning model is also going to benefit other firms. So that's good in some ways, right? Because it's a shortcut. But if it's your intellectual property and you're giving the rights up to that intellectual property, there's concerns there about what that could do for interior design down the road. I mean, there are only so many layouts.
Yeah,
there are only so many floor plans.
Sure.
So eventually, those will be, and that you really can't stop it. It's going to happen no matter what. It's not like I can say, just don't do that. And then, people will still do it.
Yeah.
They're going to be coming in from builders or it'll come in from contractors. But is it a concern of yours about the intellectual property part of that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think there's lots of concerns with AI in general, even
Yeah.
above and beyond intellectual property. But the reality is that even if we aren't feeding it that, it's gaining it from searching the web and Instagram, and it's able to scan all sorts of public
Oh yeah.
domains.
I just saw this morning actually that they just uploaded, I don't know if you know Khan Academy. Usually if you have kids, you do.
Yeah.
They just uploaded all of the Khan Academy information into AI. That just recently happened. They opened it up and allowed AI to scrape off of
Wow.
it. You can learn anything now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Khan Academy is such a resource
Yeah, absolutely.
for students out there learning
Yeah.
everything, like up to medical school
Mm-hmm.
training. It's such a fascinating thing that have how much you can talk to it. I know I had a medical thing last year and I would feed it in copies of like my medical information and that would be, it was so
Interesting.
like
Mm-hmm.
honestly compassionate.
Yeah.
More than the doctors.
Yeah.
So it was like very, like, this is what's going to be happening. And this is, very, but I'm so sorry. It's just
Yeah.
handled it in such a like unique way.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And I think that that's something that is so valuable. If there's one tip I can give designers out there about AI that I think is so valuable, it's that you want to make sure if you've got that email and the client's really, really upset, take that email before you've read it and copy and paste that and put that into ChatGPT and ask it to rewrite the email in a nicer tone.
Yeah.
But, and then you can respond to it without letting that mental energy, because people need to vent.
Right.
Yeah.
People need to vent. That's part of this job.
Sure.
It's getting it so that they can really vent to you and you're allowing that, but you're not taking in exactly everything that it is they said.
Yeah.
All right. We are so happy that you came and I'm thrilled. I really want to get through this really quick message. We are here with AJ Madison Pro, the ultimate appliance solution for professionals who need fast, reliable access to top brands without the headache of back orders. Thanks to the in-stock promise, you get the products you need ready to ship immediately so that your projects stay on track with nationwide delivery and shipping. AJ Madison's massive logistics network ensures that appliances arrive exactly when and where you need them. No delays, no surprises. And with over 150 top brands, this is your one-stop shop for all things appliances. Our team of industry experts, their team of industry experts provides personalized service to help you select the perfect appliance for your projects, ensuring seamless experience from start to finish. Plus, there's an insider tip. Qualified builders and architects gain access to exclusive trade programs with significant savings on select luxury brands. AJ Madison Pro handles the registration for you and you get the best deals, no work required. So join the AJ Madison Pro today at ajmadison.com/pro. So I just want to get that out there. But thank you for coming.
Thank
This has been
you.
so wonderful.
Thanks, Lori.
Bye.
Appreciate it.